Hey everyone, welcome back to the OmniReview with your favorite host in the whole wide world, Josh. This review is going out to all the ladies today, of course, because I am reviewing Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was written by Alan Heinberg and directed by Patty Jenkins. This is Patty Jenkins' third film, I believe, and this is the fourth film to come out of the DC Extended Universe. Now, Patty Jenkins has directed a number of TV episodes for a couple of notable TV shows throughout the years, but the last film that she made before Wonder Woman was Monster, which came back out in 2003. And that film is incredibly far off from the superhero genre, so I was already kind of skeptical about how this film would turn out. But besides Patty Jenkins' experience as a director, that wasn't really the thing that worried me. The thing that worries me is the fact that this is a DC film, and they have a pretty terrible track record so far. Man of Steel sucked, Suicide Squad sucked, and everyone knows how much I hate Batman vs. Superman. What else is there to say? So I had no enthusiasm to see this movie whatsoever, and I ended up seeing it, and I'm glad I did, because this movie is actually pretty awesome. Wonder Woman follows Amazonian Princess Diana of Themyscira, hopefully I didn't butcher that, and she is played by Gal Gadot. It's kind of hard to explain, but in this story, the Amazons are a race of warrior women who exist as a part of Greek mythology. They live on this island in the middle of the ocean, which is separated from the world of men. As Diana trains to become the most powerful warrior of her race, a US pilot named Steve Trevor, who's played by Chris Pine, crashes on the island and tells Diana about the ongoing war with the Germans in World War I. So Diana decides to leave home with Chris Pine and fight the Germans alongside the Allies and discover her true powers and her true destiny along the way and all that other typical superhero jazz stuff. Now, before I watched this film, guys, I really didn't know anything about the origin story of Wonder Woman at all. I don't read the DC comics, and if you're not counting the 1970s TV film and television series, there really hasn't been a whole lot of live-action exposure to the Wonder Woman character. So for fellow plebeians ignorant to the character Wonder Woman like myself, I think you'll end up enjoying this film because the origin story is interesting and the film does a great job of telling it. Like, how can you not get down with the idea of Gal Gadot kicking the Germans' ass in World War I? Like, I can't say no to that. Plus, I also found a lot of the themes and characters of this film to be very well fleshed out. Chris Pine is great as usual. He brings his usual charisma to the table. He was really fun to watch and really funny. I also really liked Robin Wright's character, who is the aunt of Wonder Woman, who's responsible for training her and turning her into a badass. The only performance that really bothered me probably was Danny Huston's take as General Ludendorff. I felt like it was pretty generic, and it reminded me way too much of the character that he played in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Anything that reminds me of that garbage-ass movie automatically loses points. I enjoyed the fish out of water element in this story, where Diana has to go to a world that she's never been before, being Europe, and she has to learn how to conduct and dress herself properly, which ends up being pretty funny. There's a couple good moments with her and Chris Pine where they'll be walking somewhere and she gets completely distracted by something like a baby, which she's never seen before, and she'll want to go over there and touch it, and Chris Pine's like, oh, no, let's get back on track and let's stay focused on the mission. It's really funny and cute. I will say that I'm not really sold on Gal Gadot's acting abilities quite yet. She's not bad in this film, but she lacks range as an actress, and I feel like that was pretty apparent in some scenes. She has a hard time selling it sometimes, and I think that might have been part of the reason why Patty Jenkins was originally reluctant to cast Gal Gadot for this role. But even with her shortcomings, I still think she makes a pretty decent Wonder Woman. She certainly looks the part, and I'm not just saying that because she's hot and stunning, guys. She certainly is. No, she's fit, she has energy, she brings a lot of compassion and a lot of humanity to this role. Her outfit's badass, her character's badass, and the action in this film is pretty badass. There's this awesome scene halfway into the movie where the Allies tell Wonder Woman, like, hey, don't go into that nearby town, the Germans turned it into a stronghold and we're not gonna get past it. And she's like, really? So she essentially says, nah, fuck these dudes, and she runs into it head first with the Allies following her. The ensuing action takes place, and I don't want to spoil what happens, but it's awesome. And it's also a definitive moment for the film. It is just an action scene, but the decision that sparks the whole action scene in the first place really progresses her character arc and shows that humanity means more to her than her actual mission. Unfortunately, Wonder Woman commits the common DC, or I guess superhero movie mistake of turning the final action scene into some kind of destructive CGI orgy. It's not nearly as bad in Wonder Woman. Like, this film doesn't devolve into just decimating massive cities for no reason. It was just a little over the top and a little too gratuitous for me, but at the end of the day, the action in this film is pretty well done, and it's certainly handled very well. And even though there is a good amount of CGI in this film, there's also a good blend of practical effects and practical set pieces. I was really impressed with this film, guys. It has interesting characters, it has an interesting story, the action is done well, and there's really not that much else I can say beyond that. Yeah, sure, it doesn't exactly do anything new, and it is kind of cheesy during some parts. I don't particularly care for Danny Huston's performance, and I do still think Gal Gadot needs some practice, but this film is still a lot of fun, and it's still miles ahead better than anything that DC has done so far, so I can't really complain. Wonder Woman was badass. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I'm still trying to fathom that DC actually made a good film. But as always, if there's anything that you guys would like me to review, just remember to write it down in the comment section below, and I just might do it. If you like this review, make sure you hit that like button or share this video, or both, whichever you prefer. And if you dig the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel, you son of a... Thanks again, guys. This is your boy Jay, all day, every day, signing off until next time.